Welcome to The Debate. If you move to the Hudson Valley, you are immediately faced with a choice.
Right. A pretty stark choice, actually.
Exactly. Do you spend your weekend, say, driving 45 minutes to conquer an 8,000-acre wilderness and then dine at a Michelin-level bistro? Or do you stay within a 1-mile radius of your house to buy a cauliflower crust pizza from a weathered yellow building with a rusty corrugated awning?
It's a fascinating region because it forces you to answer a fundamental question about how you live, you know?
It really does. So today we are exploring a very specific, highly debated pocket of Ulster County, New York. We're talking about the area encompassing Tillson, Rosendale, New Paltz, and Kingston. And the central tension we are exploring is, how do you optimally engage with the dining, the entertainment, and the outdoor recreation here?
Right. Do you treat the area as a regional base camp, or do you go for community immersion?
Yes, exactly. I will be arguing for the base camp model. I maintain that the best way to experience this specific geography is to treat your home as the frictionless hub of a wheel. You just travel down whatever spoke suits your mood that day to maximize world-class nature and top-tier culture.
And I will be arguing for the community immersion model, because I believe that treating the Hudson Valley like a regional buffet completely misses the soul of the area. The best, most authentic experiences, they aren't found by skimming the highlights of 5 different towns.
You don't think so?
No, not at all. The real value is found in deeply immersing yourself in the hyperlocal, unpretentious, and slightly eccentric anchors of a single community.
Well, let's get right into how the geography actually functions, because the true magic of this area is that it offers an unparalleled menu of diverse experiences within a very tight radius.
Sure.
Like if you base yourself in a quieter residential nodelet, let's use the Tillson Woods development as an example. You sit right in the center of a triangle. You have the urban arts and dining of Kingston's waterfront just to your north. You have the vibrant, loud, college town energy of New Paltz to the south. And just to the west, you have the Shawangunk Ridge, which offers literally world-class rock climbing and hiking.
Which sounds great on paper.
It's great in practice. I mean, living in a quiet, modern home in the center means you aren't trapped on any of those spokes. You curate these drastically contrasting experiences without being locked into the limitations of just one town. You extract the best of the Hudson Valley on your own terms.
Okay, but the problem with the hub and spoke model is that you spend all your time on the spokes and you never actually put down roots. The framework you're describing, it actively prevents you from belonging to the place you live.
I wouldn't say it prevents you.
I think it does. The Hudson Valley isn't a theme park with different zones you visit based on whether you want nature mode or city mode today. When you treat the region as a buffet, you remain a tourist in your own zip code. True connection comes from local immersion, embracing the messy, uncurated reality of the town right outside your front door.
Look, I understand the appeal of being a neighborhood fixture. I do. But we have to look at the actual scale of the outdoor recreation in this area. We are not talking about a quaint little town park here. The ultimate draw of this region is the grand scale of its nature.
Well, the scale is massive, sure.
It is staggering. Consider the Mohawk Preserve and Minnewaska State Park on the Shawangunk Ridge. We are talking about a massive ridge of gleaming white conglomerate rock. Mohawk alone is over 8,000 acres.
Right.
It has 70-plus miles of historic carriage roads. Minnewaska offers these dramatic glacial sky lakes, stark white cliff edges, and the sheer drop of Awasting Falls. I mean, this isn't just scenery. It's world-renowned recreational infrastructure. People fly in from Europe to climb these cliffs.
They do, and that's wonderful for them, but scale doesn't necessarily dictate intimacy.
I think of it this way. Living in Tillson is like having a world-class national park as your personal backyard gym. But to fully utilize an 8,000-acre wilderness reserve, you need a purposeful, excursion-based mindset. You don't, immerse yourself in a sheer cliff face casually.
I mean, hopefully not.
Right, you plan, you prep your gear, you conquer a specific trail, and then you retreat to your quiet home base to recover. The vast scale of the environment fundamentally demands the base camp approach.
I get that, but the way you were describing Mahone in Minnewaska, It caters entirely to a weekend warrior mentality. It turns nature into an event.
Is that a bad thing?
It makes the outdoors a highly structured transaction. Pack the car, drive to the trailhead, exert yourself, go home. That is exhausting. I would argue that the best, most authentic daily outdoor experience in this region isn't fighting for parking on the White Cliffs of Minnewaska. It's walking the Wallkill Valley Rail Trail.
Wait, the rail trail? You honestly find a flat walking path superior to the Shawangunk Ridge?
Not superior in dramatic topography, no, but vastly superior in actual lived integration. Let's explain what the rail trail is for a second. It's a former railroad track that was converted into over 20 miles of flat, paved, and crushed stone paths that literally weave right through the backyards of these small towns.
Yeah, it's nice.
And it traverses the Rosendale Trestle, which is this massive, historic iron bridge suspended 150 feet in the air right over the Rondout Creek.
It is a beautiful piece of infrastructure. I'll grant you that.
But its genius is its low friction. It doesn't require a day pack or climbing chalk or an itinerary. It's about everyday integration. It's a Tuesday morning dog walk. It's a spontaneous 20-minute bike ride to grab groceries.
Okay, sure.
When you are immersed in a community like Rosendale, nature isn't an excursion you drive to. It's the physical path you take to get your morning coffee. That daily rhythm builds a much deeper, more intimate connection to the landscape than any grand, planned weekend assault on a glacial lake.
Okay, I'll concede that a daily dog walk on a beautiful, historic trestle builds a connection to nature, but you can't eat a dog walk.
Fair enough.
Right? When the sun sets and Friday night rolls around, that hyper-local charm runs out of steam pretty quickly. If you want a sophisticated culinary or entertainment scene, a single small town simply cannot sustain it. You have to leave Rosendale and look to the north. You have to go to Kingston.
Kingston certainly has the value. I won't argue with that.
It has the curation and the density. Let's talk about why Kingston is the pinnacle of this area's evolution. Decades ago, IBM left the area, real estate bottomed out, and an influx of chefs, artists, and entrepreneurs moved into these massive historic brick buildings.
Yep.
The result today is a mature, sophisticated cultural scene. If you use your central base camp properly, your weekend includes First Saturday gallery walks in the historic Stockade District. It involves accessing live music at venues like BSP, which is housed in historic vaudeville theater and draws national touring indie acts.
It's definitely a hub for that specific demographic.
It's a metropolis-level curation. You can spend an afternoon at Rough Draft, which is this brilliant bookstore and bar hybrid that functions as the intellectual heartbeat of the town. You have legacy craft brewing at Keegan Ales, and you end the night with hyper-seasonal farm-to-table dining at Duo Bistro.
Sure, if you want all that.
The mechanics of a regional city, like Kingston, provide a cosmopolitan layer you absolutely expect if you're moving from a major urban center. You can only access that caliber of execution if you are willing to look beyond the borders of a single small village.
That is a compelling pitch, but you are highlighting the exact problem. Kingston, specifically because of that rapid maturation and influx of capital, can often feel far too curated.
Too curated?
Yes. It risks becoming a frictionless replica of Brooklyn. It loses its distinct regional grit. I argue that the most fun, the most genuinely soulful dining and shopping in this entire region is found in the hyperlocal spaces that stubbornly refuse to be slick. Look at the source material regarding a place called the Big Cheese in Rosendale.
Ah, yes. The Big Cheese.
If you want to understand community immersion, look at what this place actually is. It's housed in an unpretentious, slightly weathered yellow building with a rusty corrugated metal awning. They are actively promoting the divinity of cheese alongside Mediterranean food.
It's definitely unique.
They offer a Big Cheese club, but they also adapted to the town's needs. They have curbside pickup for groceries, and they offer a gluten-free cauliflower crust pizza. And right next door is Canaltown Thriftique, a classic jam-packed local thrift store.
It has a highly specific, somewhat chaotic personality.
It has an undeniable soul, because the underlying mechanism here is that the Big Cheese doesn't just operate as a restaurant, it operates as the community's living room. It's an eccentric legacy business. You don't go there just to consume calories or evaluate the plating. You go there to be part of Rosendale.
Okay.
You cannot manufacture the kind of civic affection that a place like that generates. It requires deep historical immersion in the neighborhood.
Wait, are you seriously suggesting that a modern resident should completely forego the high-level culinary execution of Kingston just to sit in a quirky community living room? That creates a false dichotomy. Doesn't the resident actually require the tension between the two?
How do you mean?
Well, let's unpack the psychology of someone living in this specific geography. They don't want just one note. They require the sophisticated curation of Kingston on a Friday night, the dim lighting at Duo Bistro, the crafted cocktails, the intellectual hum of Rough Draft, precisely so they can fully appreciate the quirky, messy, rusty awning authenticity of the Big Cheese on a Sunday afternoon.
So you think they use the local cheese shop as a palate cleanser for their urban excursions?
I think contrast is the engine of appreciation. If you only immerse yourself in the eccentricities of Rosendale, the quirkiness loses its charm. It just becomes your mundane reality.
I completely disagree with that.
But the base camp model allows you to constantly refresh your perspective. You appreciate the unpretentious nature of the Canaltown Thriftique, specifically because you just spent the previous evening at a high-end gallery opening in the Stockade district. The region's power is the juxtaposition.
Wow, but treating local authenticity as a contrast or a palate cleanser completely commodifies the community. It turns the local residents and their traditions into background extras in your curated lifestyle movie.
That's a bit harsh.
It strips away the actual history, which brings me to the event culture and the very identity of this region.
You are referring to the local festivals?
I am. When we talk about real entertainment here, we are talking about deeply entrenched local history that you simply can't understand if you just dip in and out. The real entertainment in Rosendale isn't dropping in to see a touring indie band in Kingston. It's walking into the Rosendale Theater, which is an independent, community-owned cinema, to watch a film alongside the people who actually volunteer their weekends to keep the marquee lit.
It is a great community effort, absolutely.
But it goes deeper than that. Have you looked at the Widow Jane mine? Do you know the mechanism behind why this town is the way it is?
The natural cement industry.
Exactly. In the 19th century, Rosendale literally built the foundation of New York City. The natural cement mined from the caves here was used to build the base of the Brooklyn Bridge and the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. This was a tough, blue-collar mining town.
Right.
When the industry collapsed, the town emptied out. And in the 70s and 80s, artists moved in looking for cheap rent. That DNA, tough, gritty, working-class miners, mixing with eccentric, countercultural artists. That is the historical mechanism that created Rosendale.
And it certainly manifests in some highly specific, brilliantly weird local events.
Yes, it explains why the town hosts the International Pickle Festival. It explains Frozendale, a winter festival where the whole community comes out in the freezing cold to celebrate local businesses. It explains the Viking Run, where locals literally dress up in armor and run a race through the town.
The Pickle Festival is, well, it's distinctive.
It is earned local pride. You cannot manufacture the International Pickle Festival in a corporate developer's office. It requires a community that is deeply, stubbornly committed to its own eccentric identity. When you immerse yourself in that, when you actually show up to the Viking Run instead of just driving past the road closure on your way to a farm-to-table dinner in New Paltz, you transition from being a resident to being a citizen of the town.
That is a wonderful, highly romanticized view of municipal events. But frankly, isolating oneself to just the quirky local festivals artificially limits the Hudson Valley experience. I would argue that the area's regional identity is actually strongest precisely because a resident isn't forced to choose.
You think they can have it all?
I know they can. The base camp model means you can go to the Rosendale Street Festival on Saturday and then hit the New Paltz Open Air Market on Sunday morning and finish the weekend walking the Kingston waterfront.
I mean,
The true identity of an Ulster County resident is defined by autonomy. It's the ability to dial the volume of your entertainment up or down depending on the town you choose to visit that day.
But by trying to be everywhere, you end up being nowhere.
I completely disagree. Sometimes you want the loud, bustling college town energy of New Paltz. Sometimes you want the absolute, deafening silence of an 8,000-acre forest at Mohonk. And sometimes, yes, you want a cauliflower crust pizza from the Big Cheese.
Right.
The Basecamp model doesn't commodify the region. It respects the sheer breadth of what the region has to offer. If you lock yourself into the community immersion model, you are willfully ignoring the massive cultural and recreational infrastructure that makes this exact geographical triangle so uniquely powerful.
I hear you, but I maintain that you can't build a fulfilling life purely out of breadth. A meaningful life requires depth. If you were constantly adjusting the dial, constantly seeking the next perfectly curated experience in the next town over, you are avoiding the friction of truly belonging.
Is friction what we're aiming for, though?
Yes. The rusty awning of the Big Cheese isn't just a quirky aesthetic. It's a testament to sticking around. It's a testament to weathering the economic shifts, the changing demographics, and still serving the community right where you stand. That is an anchor. A base camp, by its very definition, is a temporary launch pad. It's a place you leave. An anchor is what holds you in place.
And yet, without the pristine efficiency of a well-designed base camp, the elements eventually exhaust you. Listen, I think we've explored some incredible terrain today, and it is probably time to synthesize our perspectives.
Sounds good.
Throughout this debate, I have maintained that the optimal way to engage with the Tillson, Rosendale, New Paltz, and Kingston region is by treating it as a dynamic network. By utilizing a central, frictionless home base, residents can intentionally curate an unparalleled mix of experiences.
Right.
The base camp model maximizes the incredible geographical advantage of the Hudson Valley.
And I have argued that maximizing geography should never come at the expense of local depth. The most meaningful, enduring experiences in this region come from digging deep into the historic, unpretentious community anchors. It's about utilizing the low-friction integration of the rail trail daily, not just taking weekend excursions. It's about participating in the eccentric local festivals and understanding how the gritty legacy of the cement mines shaped the town's stubborn soul. The true heartbeat of the Hudson Valley is found in the local living rooms, not in the curated weekend itineraries.
Despite our different approaches, there is a massive point of convergence here. We both clearly agree that this specific pocket of Ulster County offers an extraordinarily rich alternative to standard suburban or urban living.
Oh, absolutely. Whether you view it as a sprawling network of excursions or a dense, hyper-local ecosystem, the culinary, cultural, and outdoor landscape here punches far above its weight class. It provides a complexity that rivals major cities, just spread across a very different kind of topography.
Precisely. And perhaps a true appreciation of this material and of the region itself involves recognizing the validity of both frameworks. Understanding the Hudson Valley requires acknowledging both the massive scale of its regional access and the intimate, gritty charm of its local anchors. There is clearly much more to explore in this landscape, and we leave it to the listener to determine their own ideal approach to Hudson Valley living.
It really comes down to how you choose to map your life.
Which brings us to a final thought. You can unfold a map on your desk, trace the efficient, curated lines from one peak to another, and admire the vastness of the territory. Or you can fold that map up, put it in your pocket, and step out into the muddy, unpredictable, wonderfully messy reality of the trail beneath your feet. The question isn't just where you want to live, it's how deeply you are willing to get entangled in the landscape.